Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name's Steve and today I'm going to be editing some pictures that I took last week in last week's vlog, and I'm going to be doing it in Lightroom, and I'm just going to show you how I edit autumn photography woodland pictures. So I'm just going to grab one here. Let's put it in develop mode. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to warm the temps up just, not that much, just about there. I'm quite happy with that. Now we've got a little bit of colour on the leaves, but they're not the right colour that I would like. So first thing I like to do when I do autumn images is go to the HSL sliders, and with the reds bring the hues down a bit. The oranges I'm going to bring them down a bit as well. As you can see, we're starting to get some colour now on the leaves, and again with the yellows, bring them down a bit. I'm just going to pump the saturation up just a touch on the reds and the oranges, so we're starting to get a little bit more colour now. So that's that done. Next thing I'll do, I'm quite happy with the exposure, but I will be bringing the contrast down a little bit. Now that might sound a bit weird, but I will bring that back in a minute. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sharpen just the leaves. I'm not worried about the background because, as you can see, it's all faded out anyway because it was misty. So I'm just going to bring up the sharpening just a touch, and then with the masking I'm just going to slide it across until all we can see is the definition, the outline of the leaves. So there we go, happy with that. So scroll down a little bit further, we're going to do remove chromatic aberration and enable lens correction. That's that sorted now. I'm going to come down a bit further, and now I'm going to give it a tiny bit of a vignette around the edge because I don't need the bushes on the left and the right. They don't really need to be in the image at all. But instead of cropping it, I'll just make them a little bit darker in a minute. So I'm quite happy with that. I will finish them off in a second. Next thing I'm going to do is go down to camera calibration, right down at the very bottom where it says blue primary on the saturation slider. I'm going to start sliding that up, and that will brighten the image right up, that will. So you just slide that across and you can see all the way there, and that's from nothing, and that's all the way up. I don't want it that far, about halfway, so it's plus 57 or so. Now it's getting a little better. Like I said, I don't want these green bushes to be in the image. Well, I do want them to be in the image, but I want to darken them down a little bit. So let's go to the green HSL, slide them down a bit, and let's just take the luminance off them a little bit. It's working with quite a lot of the image, but there we go. We change the hue of them. That's a lot better. Right, there's not much more to do to it really. I did notice it's a little bit dark down the base here by this tree. I just want to brighten that up a little bit. So get the brush tool, let's set the exposure about half a stop, make the brush about that big, and just brush in a little bit just around the base, just to bring a little bit of life into it. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And then I'll get a new brush, and I'm gonna slide the clarity up to about 20, exposure about a third of a stop, and I'm just gonna run down these tree trunks, that one, and a little bit just there. I'm just gonna have a little bit of a play around with that, and exposure up or down. Nope, I'm going to stick at about a third or so. Yep, happy with that. Let's cross that off. So I'm just going to finish the image off now with the tone curve. So let's have a look at the lights. That's blowing it out too much. Just want to touch on that, and the darks. Just bring the darks down just a little bit so we've got a little bit more definition. I think I'm happy with that. Just have a look, make sure, just going to go down through all the sliders, make sure I've done what I want to do. Let's take a look now at the difference before and after. Let's say 5 minutes work, didn't need much doing to it. like I say, if you've got the composition, then it's just a question of just playing with the colours really, just to get what you want. Maybe make things a little bit sharper here and there, get the right tones maybe in the base here. As you can see, that's all washed out and that's got a lot more contrast in it. The colours of the leaves are far more in keeping with what I saw that day. As you can say, by just turning your contrast down a little bit, it looks like you're washing it out, but you bring everything back in by using the other sliders. So even these bushes on the left and the right there, you can see they're much darker. All these are caught all the light, whereas there's very few white patches on these now, so I'm quite happy with that. That's by using the vignette, so I'm quite happy. That's the first one. Right, let's take a look at this one. So you can see it's quite dark and gloomy. The reason I took this picture is because I liked the separation between the leaves in the foreground here, which are the orange ones, and everything in the background was green. It doesn't look like there's much separation at the moment, but when I was there was separation. So in order to make that look the same as I did when I saw it, I'm just going to lower the contrast down a little bit. Then I'm going to go, and then now I'm going to start working on the leaves. So we've got the red hues in the HSL slider, bring them down a bit. The orange hues, bring them down a bit. As you can see, everything's starting to go the right colour now, getting a lot more colour and contrast in the leaves. Don't want to go too mad, but by taking the contrast down of the whole image, you can then bring it back and just the image, just the bits you want. Let's have a look at the greens. How much? Just a touch with the luminance on the greens, just to make the back here, because it was foggy, like rainy, so can bring that back in again. To go to the sharpening, let's have a look. So we just want to nibble the sharpening, the radius and the detail up just a little bit, and then with the masking I do like just to capture, there we go, just so you can see the outlines of the leaves really. That's all I want sharp. By doing it like that, you'll get them sharp. As you can see, everything is crystal clear in the foreground, all these leaves, so that's good. I'm happy with that. So I would like to put a vignette on this, so I'm just going to bring the vignette, just bring it down a little bit to about there, and the midpoint again, bringing it down a bit. It might look like it's getting a little bit dark, but I haven't finished yet. We are going to go down to camera calibration. We're going to go to blue primary. Very at the bottom you've got the saturation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start pumping that up. If I pump it all the way up to 100, you can see how everything just gets really saturated. It is fantastic, this slider, one of my favourites. So you just got to nibble it up to about, what should we say, 36 plus 36. You can get a lot more colour in it now. Right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make these leaves just a little bit more glowy. So by doing that, I'm going to go and edit in Color FX Pro, open that up, wait for that to open up. Let's cross off everything up there. Right, so in order to do this, I'm going to go to Glamour Glow. I'm going to make a control point, and that control point is going to be just there. And as you can see, if I just move this around, it will capture different colours and it will make them glow. So I just want to get it just right. There we go. So all you're getting now is just the leaves, the foreground leaves. It's exactly what you want. That's a radius on it. It's too much. You just want it about there. You don't want to go too mad with it, and you don't want it to be too bright. So 72% opacity on that. I'm happy with that. That's all you've got to do in that. That's all you've got to do. And bring it back into there. It might not look a lot, but it will make a change. Let's have a look. I'm just going to run through everything here. Now I've done all that, this will reset everything, but all my alterations have already been done. So I'm just going to now look around the image, see what I like, see what I don't like. That's too dark, that tree stump or that tree log. So I am going to exposure, about 1/3 of a stop, just bring that down, just run it up and down a few times on there. And then I'm just going to click the exposure up a bit, just to bring it to life. There we go, not too much. I can even get that a little bit greener. So we've got a little bit of contrast between this tree, this tree, and the colours behind it. I'm gonna, oh, the clarity's already up to about 20 or so. That just brings a little bit more definition to it. There we go, happy with that. So let's close that one, let's open up another one, new one, and this time I'm going to go about 1/2 a stop or so. Let's turn the clarity down to 0, and I'm just going to paint this foreground in. I mean, I would take a little bit more time when I'm doing this, but I'm just roughly just showing you what you can achieve just in about 5 minutes of just playing with it, really. Let's get that a little bit more. There's a tree stump there, I like that. Let's bring that out a little bit more. And now I'm going to have another new brush, and I'm going to pump it up even more. I'm going to have nearly 1 stop, and I'm just going to paint these ferns in. Like I say, it's not an exact science, but I'm just going to pump them up, and I'm going to paint that in a little bit more, just so it brightens it. There we go. I think that's it. Let's just go on to that one again and just bring it up a little bit more. Yeah, about that. Oh, now I can just change the temperature possibly. There we go. You can see it's absolutely going to match now, much better if I bring the temperature up on the floor. Quite happy with that. Let's cross that off. Well, I'm just going to take one last look at it. I'm going to see if that vignette needs messing around with any more. Don't like messing around with stuff like that too much, but nope, I'm going to leave everything as it was set before I put it into Colour FX. Let's have a look at before and after. Right, so what the difference are, we've kept the greens exactly how they should be, so we haven't messed around with them at all. All we've done basically is brought the colours out in these leaves, brought this tree trunk out a lot more defined. What else have we done? We've brought the ferns out a lot more, and also the floor as well, floor of the forest. So I'm quite happy with that. So the difference between that and that, it's only subtle, but it does make a little bit of a difference, and it just brings it to life a bit more. Right, that just about wraps it up. Hope you've enjoyed this video, just to show you really how I do my workflow in Lightroom, really, just how I capture all the colours and just bring them to life a little bit more. Don't have to go mad with stuff, just the little subtle touches here and there, and then by the time you've done it all, it just brings everything together, really. If you have liked this video, please like and subscribe, and until next time, see ya!